What were the subtle signs your XSO showed while cheating? I was getting accused of being sneaky. There was suddenly an interest in who I was texting and where I was going. She was projecting her dishonesty onto me. Got a new phone and changed his number. When I asked for the number, he said I couldn't have tea because it was his personal phone. I live in the Phoenix metro. During the summer, you'd have to be daft to go outside for an extended period of time when it is over 100 degrees. When my ex was cheating, she'd go outside and talk to her friend on her cell. In July. Actually, that's not terribly subtle, now that I think of it. I'm not on great terms with my family, so I suggested making a roast chicken for the two of us for Thanksgiving. She opted to go to her roommate's family's place. The roommate who I learned she was fucking shortly afterwards. I was in a pretty similar situation. A few months into the relationship, she moved in with a male coworker she said was a friend. Well, of course it was more than that, as I found out a couple months later. Told her she needed to choose one of us. She lives with me now. I don't trust her a bit. The way they said their name in casual conversation. And then, the frequency. And then suddenly, they disappear from conversation. This cycle can repeat itself. 2 different partners, this was my first clue. Warning bells went off. I was right each time. Had something similar with my so. She got a new job and noticed she kept talking about this guy. I let it go on for a while to see how much she'd inadvertently say. It was how she spoke about him, and how frequently. She's even been to happy hour with him, not alone but still. So when I finally brought it up, she completely stopped talking about him. I never hear about him anymore. To play devil's advocate, it could also be that she realized how much she was talking about him, or worried that it made you feel weird. I've done that before, and I've never cheated in my life. I don't think she cheated. I don't think she has that in her. I just think she had a thing for this guy and liked him. There's more to it though. But who's going to admit that? I've liked other women. If they're my type and I'm around them, can't really help it. We're human. But I probably wouldn't admit that to her. Why create stress over nothing? Wasn't so for 5 years, going 6. It was the new year of 2014. When everything was going well, he suddenly asked for space. I asked if he wanted a day or a week. He said he wanted a month. I gave him that. As in zero bothering. February came. We met, and he called it quits, and though it saddened me, it gave me time to improve on myself and reflect. It was mid-March, and just when I was able to get my life back together, he contacted me again. He told me he wanted me back. I was elated and hopeful. He said that there is just one condition that he wanted to compromise on to show that I had changed, and that is to limit my questions of his whereabouts and limit my calls to him to just his lunchtime. Realizing that I might have gone overboard with calls and questions when I was with him, he was on a night shift in a particularly shady environment, and it didn't help that I was a worrywart. I agreed. But there was something in my gut that tells me something doesn't seem fair. Since then, I fought the urge to even simply ask him how his day was, or make any leisurely talk with him just to comply and prove to myself and to him that I don't have trust issues, because if I don't, he'll call it out on me. Then, in November of that year, his friend from his workplace died. I was scared because I hadn't heard from him for almost 2 days during the funeral, and I am worried that he might be devastated. My worry turned to anger when he just said that he placed his phone on silent mode, spent the night with his mates in the funeral, and told me, "I have to ignore you since the funeral was the only time I can talk to my workplace friends and you disturbed me a lot." I apologized for my anger and just let him be. I still have to prove to him that I am not bothersome. We became okay afterwards. It wasn't a big fight, but I was quite offended by what he just said. I was just worried because it was not typical of him to not inform me of his whereabouts. 3 weeks after the funeral, he just dropped the "I'm breaking up with you for good," no warnings. I was beyond devastated. Fast forward 2015, he came back one midnight, asking for me to leave my boyfriend, now husband, crying and regretting that he dismissed all my concern and my thoughtfulness when we were together. Funny thing is, he had a girlfriend when he begged me to get back together. And that girlfriend is the one who he cheated me with. He told me that his girlfriend hated it when he gets concerned, thoughtful or sweet, and that he misses me who appreciates all that. I dismissed him with, "You'll find yourself a good woman eventually." People, Remember that sufficient proximity and proper communication are indispensable in a good relationship. If your so keeps on asking for too much space, as he might as well be on the next rocket ship out of your life. He started working out more, shaved all his body hair off, hid his phone, had random outbursts of laughter while looking at his phone, use a random address for everything instead of your actual home address, send flowers to a house you don't know, take random holiday without you, money goes missing, goes out more without you. Holy crap, that could almost be me. Turning 40 this year and I've committed to getting fit. Planning on waxing my chest and back hair once I've lost the weight. Use work address for deliveries. Send flowers to friends' houses on occasion. Going on holidays with my buddies. Excuse me, I need to call my wife. Getting really defensive when asked about their day. I ask questions because I'm interested in what's going on in their life. But when the answers don't make sense, I ask more questions because I figured I was misunderstanding. I have to be honest, I get defensive when my wife asks me about my day. Not because I am cheating, because no one else would have me, but because she is super talented and works so hard and gets so much done at work and I am not and don't, which is embarrassing. After having a long abusive relationship with a multiple confirmed cheating girl, I can tell. 1. She didn't go to events or parties with me that were public. 2. Her not telling anyone about her being in a relationship. 3. Or even worse, hearing, "Wait, you are still together? I thought you broke up," from a mutual friend. 4. When picking her up from parties she didn't want to go together, she would be coming from another direction than from the place the party was at. 5. Her not being okay with unannounced visits from me. She started encouraging me to go out without her more often, never did that before, couldn't stand to be apart from me. In retrospect, there were a lot of things, but I didn't notice any of them. Meanwhile, she was basically in a year-long relationship with one of my best friends and I was oblivious. Hiding his phone, putting a password on it, then blocking me from being able to see or comment on his profile, deleting comments I made, untagging himself and stuff with me. What's wrong with putting a password on your phone? All of that other stuff are serious red flags, but you've got to protect your phone. And no, a partner doesn't need to give you their password. I would split in a heartbeat if someone tried telling me that they needed to know my passwords. Same here, but the wording makes me think this is something he did not do at first, and then suddenly took to doing. That is a red flag. He suddenly became concerned about his looks but didn't want me to look good, went on a diet, started wearing contacts, and started shaving his pubes, which he wouldn't do for me. Also became distant, lack of interest in sex, spent a lot of time on his phone, had weird mood swings that didn't relate to our relationship, fights, makeups, lots of other signs. Here are some warning signs that your partner may be cheating. One of these on their own shouldn't be too much of a worry. But if you recognize a few of these, then it's likely your partner is cheating. 1. Making more of an effort than usual to look good for events, work, etc. that you won't be attending to. 2. Buying new underwear, or finding sexy or special underwear in the wash that they had not mentioned. 3. New clothes that you've not seen before. Not talking to you about those purchases, where normally they would have. 4. Going to more things that you're not invited to. Making up reasons why you can't come. Staying out later. 5. Not taking as much an interest in you, or bothering about spending time with you, or nagging you about things like they used to. 6. On their phone more and more. Often explained away as just talking to friends. Extra points if these friends are going through relationship troubles and they're giving them advice. Also can be used as a reason why they won't show you the messages, or are protective of their phone, because it's confidential between their friend and them, and it would be disrespectful for you to know. 7. Changing profile pictures on social media to ones of just them, or them and friends. Excluding you. Reluctant to change them to the two of you when asked or mentioned. 8. Increased sex drive for a while, followed by massively decreased sex drive. 9. Wanting to be independent with things. For example, trying to put up furniture on their own without your help, where normally you'd work together. 10. Looking nervous when someone says they've seen them somewhere. For example, a friend says, "Oh, X, I saw you in Y the other day," and they look nervous or worried. 11. Sudden bouts of happiness or sadness that they don't explain. "I've just had a really good day," etc. 12. extreme anger or snappiness at even the mildest accusation of cheating or impropriety. What other sign does a cheater show? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.